Is the new Reload meta actually bad? Who dominated the Esports World Cup qualifiers? And who are the big new teams in Europe? I'll discuss that and more in today's EU review. Now, Fortnite have just released the Elite Stronghold Reload map, and with it has come a completely new meta, and it's fair to say that not every pro is enjoying it. And as you're about to see, when I break down some of the items, you can see their frustration. By no means is this meta terrible, as you can see a pretty balanced selection of assault rifles, the movement meta also looking very fun as well. There are a lot of positives. However, the shotgun selection is a little bit imbalanced. You've got the infiltrator pump and the morphite pump, and well, put simply, the morphite is just way stronger. And more often than not in fights, it's going to be the player with the morphite pump that wins. Now, I actually don't think this is the main issue with the meta. The problem I have is that there's a lot of random items. As you can see, hunting rifles are in, which are incredibly broken amongst the top pros. We've also got the 7 cluster cannon, which is just kind of an annoying gun. An even more annoying weapon is the cube rifle, which has this dual fire capability where it can shoot this splash damage attack, which as you can see is super annoying to face. And then there's items like the shrub bomb, which is honestly just pretty harmless and kind of funny. But the big question is this: what items are pros actually carrying? Well, from watching the Reload Elite Series, which I will speak about in a moment, we can see that the most popular combination is the morphite pump shotgun and the flex SMG. Honestly, not a lot of players were carrying assault rifles, and when you watch players using the SMG, spraying down from height, getting into boxes, it kind of makes sense. It's a super strong weapon. Now, historically, the metas where SMGs have been very popular have not always proved to be the best, so we'll have to see how this develops. And yes, most pros are running shotgun, SMG, and then just movement and heals, but there is also a lot of variety in what they can carry because we do have such a dense loot pool. A lot of pros, of course, carrying the hunting rifle, which, as I just mentioned, is incredibly broken at the top level. The 7 cluster cannon, as you can see, Chino and Pablo getting some use out of that, and we can see them doing some classic zero build strats with the shrub bombs too. So there's a lot of different ways you can play this meta, which honestly is kind of a redeeming factor. So in my opinion, with a couple of tweaks, I genuinely think this Reload season could be saved. I don't think the meta is terrible by any means, and I do think it can be recovered. In terms of the new map, I do quite like it from an aesthetic point. It does look very good. The issue that some pros have raised is that there is too much loot, which means that there's not a lot of contesting of spawn, which can make the early game a bit boring. And listen, the issue that we already have with Reload is that practically every single team makes the end game, which can make the mid games a little bit boring. If we then take away all the off spawn fights in the early game because every pro has access to loot and no one has to fight each other, that could make the games even more uninteresting, which could be an issue. It definitely feels a bit weird complaining that there's too much loot on the map because it's normally the opposite that we have to say. And honestly, I don't think this is inherently a really bad thing at all. Yes, the spawn fights won't be as good, but it doesn't mean the games aren't going to be entertaining. I guess the issue that a lot of people have is that Reload was in quite a good place a few months ago. The Slurp Rush map was fun, the meta felt really fresh and enjoyable, and I feel like the changes that have come with Elite Stronghold have kind of unsettled the community. But listen, there are positives. We no longer have shockwaves, we've got the overdrive grenades instead, which I think is way more competitive. We've only seen a couple of tournaments on this new meta, and if Epic can make a couple of tweaks, I genuinely think it has huge potential. Listen, let's get into talking about the Reload Elite Series. We had the top 2K teams qualify through opens to make it to the next round of the Esports World Cup qualifiers. Most pros made it through because top 2000 is a pretty achievable target. So I don't have any big shocks to bring you here, but the team that came first over the 2 days was Swizzy and Pixie. And this came after I said this about them on the Nothing But Fortnite podcast this week. We've not seen the best from Swizzy and Pixie. Like, on paper, this is a team that should be one of, if not the best in EU. I mean, Swizzy's a global champion. Pixie, in my book, was the best player last year, and people can argue with that. I thought he was insane, and they just haven't had the results that I feel like I'd like to have seen from them. They haven't won a divisional cup, not even really come that close. I want to see some more from these guys, and the summit lands soon, so they're going to have to turn it around. This is exactly the type of performance I was wanting to see from these guys. As I just said in the clip, I feel like they are so good on paper, but they've just not been showing what I feel like they're capable of. I feel like they have so much more to give, and this was a great start. It was a great sign, putting a middling grand finals performance past them to come first place in the opens round. Like most teams, they were running the shotgun SMG combination, and as you can see from these clips, it was definitely working for them. With only 6 more European spots left for the Esports World Cup Reload LAN in August, these guys will be one of the favourites to make it, and honestly, if they keep playing like this, I don't think it will be a problem for them at all. In second place, we had Wheat and Azet Go. Go. Now this is potentially a completely new duo. Up until now, Azitgo and iFrozy have been playing together, and it's not clear as to whether they're sticking, whether this is just a new duo only for Reload. We'll have to wait and see on that one. iFrozy did also qualify pretty easily, coming in 12th place with Hizix. But nice to see these guys putting the disappointment of not making the Summit LAN past them and putting in a good shift. Now if we look down the leaderboard, you can see that there's a lot of up and coming underrated players. It's nice to see some newer names breaking through. They'll need to get top 80 in the next round in order to qualify for the Reload Elite Series heats. We had Acer and Rax in 4th place. Now this is a completely new duo. They did play together for the second chance qualifier, but they were not able to book their tickets for the Summit LAN. As you can see, Rax hits a really nice snipe here with the hunting rifle. They just look great throughout the whole tournament. They're a top fighting team, and Reload is a mode that rewards pure fragging ability, so these guys were right at home. In 5th place we had Prism and Casper, bouncing back from not qualifying for the Summit LAN. As you can see, two other big names inside the top 10. We had Reason and Noah Rayleigh, and Chap and Flixie, both duos that qualified for the Summit LAN. Didn't have the craziest placements in Grands, but listen, finishing inside the top 20 was all that mattered, and we will be seeing both of those teams in Düsseldorf. And if you're wondering where the FNCS champions finished, Sky and Scroll came in 11th. Now whilst pretty much every big player qualified, so I don't have any shocks to bring you, we do have some new duos. Mongraal is now playing with the French player Lixium, and honestly I could see this being a pretty exciting duo. Lixium is someone that isn't the most flashy player in the world, but I do feel like he is what Mongraal needs in terms of the fact that he can IGL, he can take the lead and allow Mongraal to sit back, frag and enjoy playing the game a little bit more. I believe that Mongraal is at his best when he doesn't have to make too many decisions, when he has someone that will take responsibility for leading. This worked pretty well when he was playing with Prodage, and picking up Lixium should be a continuation of that. We also have a completely new duo for Queasy. He played this tournament with the Ukrainian player Velry, which is honestly not the duo I fully expected. It does feel like Queasy has just gone through so many players over the past few months. We haven't really seen too much from this team yet. We'll have to see how they get on in the play-ins round, but Queasy does need to have some good performances pretty soon because it's not been a great few months for him, missing out on grand finals, missing out on the Summit LAN completely. He will want to start having good placements very soon. And one of Queasy's ex-teammates, Murstache, has also found a new teammate. He will be playing with Pinq. Now this is actually a pretty exciting team. It feels like we've got two players that have both really struggled to find a solid teammate, struggled to play with someone consistently, and when you put them together it does feel like it could be a match made in heaven. Listen, Murstache is obviously a pro with a lot of quality. Yes, there's some questions about how hard he's working at the moment. Is he playing the game as much as he should be? Maybe he is, maybe he isn't, but what is undeniable is that he is incredibly good at the game, and I do think he could do well with Pinq. Pinq is obviously someone who struggled a little bit this year as well, didn't have the results he would have liked with Sato. They weren't able to qualify for the FNCS Grand Finals or make the Summit LAN. But listen, we'll have to see how this team gets on, but I do think the positive signs could be there. And finally, we had Alba, the best female pro in World Fortnite, picking up a new teammate. She is playing with the Danish pro Kovacs. It'll be interesting to see how they get on. Please subscribe to stay up to date with European Fortnite news. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one.